Welcome to the Seven Springs Museum at the Bodiford House, located right here on Marietta Street in historic downtown Powder Springs. Let's take a look. The museum houses a unique collection of artifacts and photographs that chronicle the history of the area, and it's operated by volunteers from the Powder Springs Historical Society. Here's the Historical Society president now, Mr. Lowell Lovingood, to give you a little insight into the museum's background and tell you more of its intriguing contents.
Most of what you find when you come into the museum deals primarily with the history of Powder Springs. And we've tried to preserve as many artifacts and things as we possibly could that tells people about what Powder Springs was from the 1800s almost up until the present.
Thanks, Mr. Lovingood. As someone who's familiar with the museum's collection, what are your thoughts on some of the items that can be seen here?
We feel like that this is probably one of the best kept secrets in Cobb County. And people who have not had the opportunity to come and to visit the museum and see what we have, I think they've missed quite a treat.
Wow, it sounds like you have some pretty amazing pieces from right here in our own backyard.
We have a lot of Civil War relics, and most of it was found within probably 5 miles of this museum.
Civil War artifacts? So neat! What else can you tell us about the heritage of Powder Springs?
Both the Cherokee and the Creek Indians both were in this area. But the Cherokee Indians were primarily in Powder Springs.
Nice! How can we learn more?
We've got about 5 or 6 galleries, different rooms, a library and a research room that is filled full of items that can be researched and can be looked at that deals with the history of Powder Springs.
And what about the actual building that houses these Powder Springs gems?
The house itself is built around a 4-room bungalow that was built back in the 1800s. So the core of the house dates back much further than the house itself.
Yeah. And I understand there's even a room where you can see the wood plank flooring from the 4-room bungalow that started it all.
No kidding! Now that's something I've got to check out.
We're just very thankful that we have this nice facility to put the museum in.
We love it too, and we know you'll feel the same when you come to visit. Thanks for stopping in to learn a little about the history of Powder Springs.
Head on in and see for yourself what unique stories the museum has to tell, and get a spring in your step.